Afternoon, Flosstube. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of September 2024. I'm Lindsay, Cheshire Stitcher, both here on YouTube and over on Instagram. Welcome to my channel. This is Flosstube Extra number 6, Box of Doom Part 3. We'll see how we go. I'll go to about an hour again, as I have done with the other two, and then we might need a part 4. If we do, I'll get that recorded today, because tomorrow I am off to Sparkley's for the day, so I won't be here to do any recording. I'll get going, shall I? You don't need to listen to me waffle. We're in my craft room again, and I'm still not doing a tour of it for you. Right, next, well, not next, first project for this video is Joe Snow. I stitched him I don't know how long ago. Did not have the confidence to finish him. That's what he will look like when he's finished. There's all the bits and pieces to do to finish him, his broom and everything. And I do have Sally. I didn't stitch her when I stitched Joe because I knew I didn't have the confidence to do the finishing. These days, far more likely. Much more confident with stuff like that nowadays. Oh, and here's a Lizzie Kate, by the way. I forgot to say that. I'm just putting him back in his bag. Next one, again, in no particular order. Birth sampler for my eldest grandson. The only one of the 5 that has actually got one stitched. I did stitch one for the middle grandson, and it's finished and sitting waiting for me to put information on it, but it's changed around now and I'm not sure which one of the other ones is going to get that. They will all eventually end up with the birth sampler, but this is the only one that is complete. Didn't enjoy it. Don't know why. Loved the colours, but I just didn't enjoy stitching it. I remember it took, yes, he was born in, as you can see, 2008, but he must have been getting on 10 before I finished it, because I really did not enjoy it. Next is another little Lizzie Kate. Finished in June 2000. So this is one has been sat in the box for 24 years. I think it's one I did as part of a round robin, because it was with some other round robin ones, which I haven't pulled out to show you because they weren't ones that I stitched. So, as you can see, I was a middle starter, still am. Never been near an iron. Probably would have been a good idea. Next is Miss New Year's Fairy. I was on a week-long stitching retreat. I used to do the Francis Stitch retreats, and one of the girls finished this, and I just adored her. So she gifted me the charts, the leftover fabrics, not the leftover fabrics, the leftover thread, leftover beads. And then when I was done, I passed it on to somebody else. My fabric, I'm pretty sure, is a Dr. Smith's Tonic again. Love that fabric. And I'm gutted that we can't get it anymore. But move her around a bit, you might be able to see just how blingy she is. There we go, that's that one. Next, I can't remember. I remember it was a set and you bought them, they were all bought individually. It might be a Lizzie Kate, and you could stitch them as one, which obviously I did, or you could do them individually. Again, I remember I did this when I was on one of the Francis Stitch retreats. A lot of fun to do, but again, I've never done anything with it, like most of my stitching. So there we go. Next we have this one. Pretty sure it's in ink circles. Couldn't tell you what it was called. My fabric is more than likely a sparklies one, possibly an oops piece, or no, it's been cut from a larger piece because it's overlocked on 3 sides and then blanket stitched on one. Don't know. I wish I could remember, because that is a beautiful colour thread. Absolutely gorgeous. But I don't know. Couldn't tell you. No idea. Not very helpful, am I? Next we have a few little bits of things that I will have stitched at bowling, more than likely. Little mini kits from different things. Probably a DMC kit, couldn't tell you. Don't know. Got that one. This was an Anne, is it Anne Lane? I think it was Anne Lane little kit, again stitched at indoor bowling. And when I was pulling stuff out, I think what I'm going to do with this, I think I'm going to keep this out and just put some sticky back felt on it and use it as a bookmark, because I do read a fair bit. So that's a plan for that one. Little rocking horse. As I said, I do love rocking horses and carousel horses. I've stitched rocking horses, I've yet to stitch a carousel. No, I tell a lie, I have stitched a carousel, but I don't have it anymore. It was done as an exchange years ago. I do have the piece still that I was sent. And that will be, at the end of the video, I have a pile of things that I've pulled out when I transferred from one box to the current box, that I thought I could either finish or send off to Love Quilts to use as fundraisers, and that one that I got in that exchange is there. It's not my stitching, but I will show it to you. So there's a little rocking horse. This is on perforated paper. I've no idea when I did it, if it was a class or if I did it through the WI, I do not know. But it's double-sided. I've only got the stitching on one, and it does, if you want, you can open it up into a little gift basket. Couldn't tell you anything else about it. I haven't got the faintest idea. But it's on perforated paper, just to show that I have done it. Well, no, that's not just to show, but you know what I mean. Next, we have this. This is either a Bent Creek or a Heart in Hand. I think it's called Wheat Angel. Again, it's one that I did at Indoor Bowls. And it was done obviously with a little hoop. Never washed it or anything. Might be a good idea to do that. Again, I don't know if I'll ever do anything with it. It was just something to keep my hands occupied whilst I wasn't bowling. But she is sweet. And yes, I know, she has a face, but it's not a proper face. Next is a snowman. Margaret Sherry snowman. I think it was bought as a kit, but obviously I changed the fabric, which will, I couldn't tell you what it was called, but it'll be a sparklies. So there we go, little snowman. He was nice. Didn't take me that long to do, I don't think. Next we have a biggie. We put that flat. So I shan't bother with the board for this one. This is Cirque de Cirque. When everybody was doing these, when they first of all came out, everybody was doing them on a dark fabric with a variegated thread. A bright variegated thread, and I thought, I don't want to do that. So my fabric is Sparkling Sunflowers from Sparklies, and I just use plain old DMC. When I've shown you my beaded version, I have said I've stitched it. There's the proof. Speaking of my beaded version, that will be appearing in my video on Friday, my regular video. I forgot to show it last month. So I'll just give you a quick, in case you've never seen it. It's an ink circles design. But there you go. That's my Cirque de Cirque. Sorry, I've been talking so much on these videos lately, my throat gets really dry. Yes, Jeanette, it's blue. A little bit of needlepoint. Bought it as a kit at one of the stitching shows years ago. It just appealed to me with all the bright colours. Couldn't tell you who the designer was or anything like that. Would make a lovely box top, actually. I might see when I go into town tomorrow before I record, if I can get a square box. I think that would look lovely mounted on a square box. Next is one that I did the stitching, but I didn't do the finishing. My chair's in a slightly different position today. Little House Needleworks, I think. I was trying to work out what that was. That's my initials. And then you've got your needle. And I finished it and asked a friend who did quilting if she would be ever so kind and made it up for me. And this is what she did. This is what she made for me. A little thread bed there, or you could use it as a pincushion. It's got a pocket. Actually, it's got a double pocket. Let me fold that back. So I've got that one there and that one there. I think she did a fantastic job for me. But as you can tell, it's in my box of doom. It's never been used. Probably should. It'd be a good idea. A few more little bits now. Told you I'd had a go at hard hanger and didn't like it. Just a simple little bit. Pardon me. Actually, I might keep this out and make this into a scissor fob for my scissors. Obviously. Duh. This is, I have no idea, but this was also in my box of doom. I don't know how we did it, but you put some wool rovings. It's got wool rovings stitched on and outlined. I haven't got a clue how it was done. I can't remember. I've slept since then. So it was, as I say, it was in my box of doom, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. It was just handy for me to show you that. Next we have this. This was a freebie. Couldn't tell you whose design it was. But I did enjoy stitching it, I do remember that. And obviously it's an over-dyed thread. But what one? I haven't got the foggiest. Probably a 27 Linda. Maybe I should put that in the frame for next summer. Spring even. This is a little shepherd's bush. Quite a few years I would pull out a small Christmas design that I would start on Boxing Day. No, I wouldn't. I'd start it on Christmas Eve and work on it Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. And I would try and pick something that I could do within those 3 days. This one, I think I did in my parents' caravan one Christmas. They used to go away every year at Christmas. Some years I was with them, some years I wasn't. Sometimes I'd go for a visit. And I think this is one of the ones that I did there. But I do know it's a shepherd's bush. If you've been watching these videos, you will remember me saying about the ornament round robin. This was one that I picked and then realised it was far too big to send out because we were supposed to be small ornament size things. So I never sent it out. But I do remember I did enjoy stitching it. It was a lot of fun to do. But it is quite big. So whether or not I'd ever actually do anything, again, maybe I could get a square frame for it and display it at Christmas. It's certainly too big for the tree, which you wouldn't think was possible when you've got a 7-foot tree. But there we go. As I've said before, if you want any information on any of these, I will do my best to find it for you. Another little freebie that will have been stitched at bowling. Again, I think it could be a Bent Creek, but I couldn't swear to it. Whether or not I used the call for colours or I just pulled colours, I don't know. Probably used the called for colours. Because at one time I would never have deviated from what was called for. Confidence thing. These days, I'd look at that and go, those colours are a bit boring, let's find something else. Next is another one of the little heritage ones that goes with the big flower panels. And this one is poppies, as you can tell. I like poppies. They aren't my favourite, as you should know by now. That's a sunflower, but I am fond of poppies and I'm fond of daffodils. So, again, I switched the fabric. Whether I switched the fabric myself or whether I sent it off to Heritage and they sent me a piece back, I haven't got the faintest idea. I can't remember. And like I said before, I don't know if Heritage still offer that. They may do, I don't know. It's the kind of thing you'd have to inquire about. Next up, for the longest time, this was my oldest PhD. I started it, I hadn't been stitching very long when I started it. And I think, basically, I intimidated myself with it because it's massive. It was a Lennart kit, or Lennarte kit. And as I say, for the longest time, it was my oldest PhD. And I did eventually, obviously, finish it. It became a weekend project. And I did it. I think it took me 12 months of weekends to get it done. Nowadays, it's not something I would pick because I'm older. I was 19 when I started stitching this. When I finished it, it had been a PhD for 27 years. Is that right? Yeah, about right. I'd have to look it up, but I do remember it was well over 20 years old. Probably no longer available, but it was a massive thing. Like I say, basically, I intimidated myself with it. You know what you're like when you're 19 and you're full of confidence. Next is a little house. Getting on to slightly more modern things now. This was a kit. Well, no, not a kit. You bought the design with the threads. So, if you can't read it, I'm thankful for my daily bread and also for my cross-stitch thread. And it came with a small bonus design, which I also did. I've been debating for a few years about whether or not to actually sell on the fabric. No, not the fabric, honestly. The chart and the leftover threads. Still undecided, and I stitched it several years ago. This was a birthday start, 1 year. It's a Sue Hillis design, and I would like to do the other version, which basically is it all in one long line. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it fast enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. From Mary Poppins, in case you don't know. It was a lot of fun to stitch, and it was quite quick, actually. Maybe I should pull the chart out and stitch the other version. And then I can have them both done. The other one would make like a lovely big long pillow. I might just dig that chart out and see if I can do that. I think one reason I didn't do it at the time was because I didn't have a piece of fabric big enough. But now I would. This, I think the fabric is a 27 count Linda. It's not a Zweigart. But if I did it on a smaller count for the other one, it would work okay. But this is in the last sort of 6-7 years, I think. There we go. That was a lot of fun to do, even though it's got a lot of pink in it. Right, next we have another biggie. Most of you will recognise this. Santa's Village. I bought the charts from Patchwork Rabbit as they were released each month. I didn't get the buttons. I'm not a big fan of putting buttons and things on stitching. Don't know why, but I'm not a fan of it. I did buy the overdyes. And again, it ended up as a weekend project to finish it. So I couldn't tell you the names of the houses now though. But let's just give you a bit of a better view of it. It was a mammoth undertaking. Another one of them things I don't normally do, mystery things, but I thought it's Christmas. So I decided I would. Not a big fan of stitching lots of houses, so I probably wouldn't do it again. but I do remember stitching it and I did enjoy it. And like I say, it became a weekend project. Couldn't tell you what fabric it is or anything. Another little band sampler. Absolutely no idea about this one. It's got some hard hanger on it, obviously. Various different stitches. We've got some satin stitch in a couple of directions. I think this is a form of hem stitch. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I really don't know. Haven't the faintest idea. And I've used a pink thread. Probably it was a class and I didn't have much of an option. But again, I suppose I could put something coloured behind the hard hanger bits. Let me get me a bit of fabric again to show it a bit better. I could put something coloured behind the hard hanger bits and then make it into a bookmark, because I do read quite a lot. I know it'd be a bit of a big bookmark, but that'd be fine. I could just use the rest of the fabric for it, couldn't I? It's a thought. It won't happen for this week's video, I can tell you that. Might happen for the one after it, you never know. But yeah, another one to keep out to do something with. Fold it the other way, which is the way it was folded. Talking to myself. Talk amongst yourselves while I natter to myself. I'll put that over there rather than back in the box. This was another Lizzie Kate kit. One of them ones you just, apparently it was a kit, but you know, you got the fabric, you got the buttons, you didn't get any threads. If I remember right, it was that version. Obviously, I didn't put any buttons on it. And I used my own fabric, which is a sparkly, well, I should say opalescent. And it's just a plain white opalescent. There we go. This one I did only finish a couple of years ago. Could be a tiny modernist. This was another one that I stitched at Indoor Bowls to pass the time, and then I think I did it a couple of other places as well, but I couldn't remember where. It just made me smile. A lot of fun, bit too much pink, but couldn't be bothered to sort out a different colour scheme for it. It just, like I say, it made me smile. These ones are Art Nouveau. They were a seasonal one in one of the magazines donkeys years ago. It came with a single bell pull hanger. And I think I have managed to scrounge together enough over the years where somebody's gone, oh, I don't want this, does anybody want it? Or bought it in a charity shop or something like that, to do all four on a bell pull. I still have one to stitch. They were seasonal ones, if I remember rightly, and this is the winter one. So I've got one more to do to complete the set. And I think it's just on 27 Linda. So that was the first one. I think this is a summery, I think it was a summer one. I can't remember which season was which. Obviously it's an Art Nouveau. They were all Art Nouveau inspired. But that was that one. I think this is the third one that I finished. I started off with my least favourite, which is the next one I'll show you. So this one was second, and the poinsettia winter one, well, I don't know if they're supposed to be poinsettia, but that's what they remind me of, was the winter one. I think the last one is daffodils. Again, I really should pull it out, then I could do something with it. And that's the third one. So I've just got one more to do. And I'm done. I remember doing these at Francis's Stitch Retreats. I think I've still got all the colours in a box, waiting for me to get my arse into gear and do the other one. Might make that one of my goals for next year, is to get the last one done so that they can be finished and hung. Back in 2020, Jeanette and I did our very first stitch along together. What was this? I bought the pattern off at Etsy, if I remember rightly, but I couldn't tell you anything else. And it was just the two colours. I think we started it sort of early December time. I don't know, it must be 2020 because we became friends in 2020. So there we go. Next is another silver lining that I've done. Again, this became a weekend project. I have got a couple finished. I've got a fuchsia finished and framed, and a pansy one finished and framed and up on the wall. This is the daffodils. I think I did this over one. Yeah, did it over one. Like I say, it became a weekend project because it was over one, and I didn't dislike doing it. I can only take so much over one stitch in, and then I've had enough. So that's my silver lining daffodils. Next is another biggie-ish. Again, it's an Ink Circles Alchemical Romance. And when I stitched it, I kept the little chart that tells you what all the symbols are. So, like that one's water. I kept the key, that was it. And obviously the ones in the centre are all for gold. But that's Alchemical Romance, and again it's in Ink Circles, and again it's on Dr. Smith's tonic. My absolute favourite fabric, and I can't get it anymore. There we go. This one was in the Gifted Stitching magazine. I did subscribe to it, but I no longer have access to the computer it was on, and it keeps popping up, buy them all, and I'm very tempted to do so. I decided I would do all 4 of them, and only ever did spring. And I decided that I would do the border and the lettering in the same thread, which I have kept separate all these years, and I know where it is. I can put my hand on it, but I couldn't tell you anything else. It looks like it could be on a Lakeside Linens. I've got straw flower and I've got bisques. One's 32, one's 36. I'd have to do some investigating before I ever actually stitch the other ones. And I just looked through for a thread that I liked. No idea what it is. I just liked it. We're definitely getting onto the more modern stuff now. Nora Corbett's Monk's Hood. Again, I know that this was stitched whilst on a Francis Stitch retreat, and I stayed up late one night to get it finished with Charlotte of Stitching with the Kids Around. Kind of bullied me into finishing it, and I literally finished it on the last night before we had to leave. So it was either finished late on the Thursday night and we were leaving on the Friday, or it was finished late on the Friday, we were leaving on the Saturday. I've slept since then. But the chart was one of the very first things that my partner gave me. Well, I happened to be scrolling through Facebook and he was sat next to me and I went, oh, I like that. So he bought it for me. But yeah, Nora Corbett's Monk's Hood. I have done a few of the ladies, not ladies, pixies. She's one of the poison ones, I think. I think it's the poison series. Sparkles fabric again. Next is another Nora Corbett. Geranium. This one again was stitched whilst I was on Francis Stitch retreats, and it was stitched, I did stitch along with a friend. Every time we went on, we were on the same retreat, we worked on this. She was a fun stitch. I did enjoy her, even with all the flipping beads on her. It's one reason I don't do a lot of these things is because the beading just, I bead as a hobby. And I don't enjoy putting them on cross stitch. Weird, I know, but there you go. But yeah, there's geranium. I have marigold framed downstairs on the wall. If you would like me to do a tour or pull things down and show you off the wall of things that I've done, I'd be quite happy to do that. This was a DMC kit called Statement Flowers. It was the colours that drew me to it. Again, switched the fabric for a 28 count. Didn't oversew the edges on this one for some reason, but there we go. It was a kit, came with Ada, and it was just a lot of fun to stitch. And I remember stitching this one. There was only 4 of us went on one particular retreat, and it was to celebrate one of the other ones' birthday. And I remember stitching on that whilst we were there on that particular trip. They went out for the day. We were somewhere around Scarborough. The others went out for the day, and I decorated the dining room. My excuse for not going was that they were going to the Sea Life Centre and I'd been there the year before, so didn't want to go again. So whilst they were out, I decorated the dining room with banners and got the cake out of the car that a friend of mine had made with some swans on it. Beautiful cake. It was very tasty as well. And yeah, she had a lovely surprise when she came back, but this one I stitched whilst I was on that retreat. Well, I didn't do all of it. Next is another biggie-ish one. This, I think, was a Plum Street sampler that she did over the course of Christmas or December one year. One came out every couple of days, if I remember correctly. That's on Dr. Smith's tonic. I didn't keep up with it that year. I think I finished it the following year. And the following year was one where the friend that I'd stitched geranium with had found out a few months earlier than that I was going to be on my own at Christmas. And I wasn't given any option. I was told, like it or lump it, you're spending Christmas with me. So I spent Christmas in Barrow that year. That was between me finishing with my previous partner and getting with my current partner. But I remember this one I took with me and I worked on it there. As you can see, it's only 2 colours with odd little bits and pieces. And I used needle necessities for the red and the green. And then I probably used needle necessities for the bits of yellow and any other little bits and pieces of colour. Like I say, I think it was a Plum Street one that she did on her blog one year as a free design. It's one of those ones you could quite easily, if you wanted to, do individual blocks. Another couple of little kits. Don't know, might be a mouse loft, might be out of a magazine. Obviously it's a Christmas pudding. Again, I think I might keep this out and make it up for the tree this year. Pardon me. So, put you there, and then another little kit that will have been stitched. Bowling, doctors, dentists, anything like that. Of a sewing machine, obviously. Next we have another ink circle. Didn't realise I'd stitched as many ink circles as I have. Same as I didn't think I'd stitched as many shepherd's bushes. But I do remember this is an ink circle. Excuse me, what are you doing? No. No, don't you answer me back. Lizzie's come up. Come on then. And come say hello to everybody. There we go. Say hello, Lizzie. This is little Lizzie. She's normally not allowed in here. So when she gets the opportunity to sneak in, she does. And she's been obsessed with my lap the last couple of days. So I'm probably not going to get rid of her now. Am I? Go on then. Off you go. But she doesn't want to leave, look. We'll give this a go, but it's not going to be very easy trying to show you. But like I say, ink circles. You're a pain. You're a pain. You know that. But I don't know what it's called. One of the little ones. She frequently lies like this on mostly on me. Go on. Come on. Time to go. No, you're not going on the quilt. You're down there. She was trying to jump up on the stitching. That's why I picked her up. Again, no idea. It's on quite a stiff linen, so it's probably a permin linen. No idea. Obviously, it's a Christmas tree. Not the faintest idea other than that. Don't know. Next, we have Poppy. Another Nora Corbett Pixie. I've stitched, like I say, I've stitched a few. I've done geranium. Marigold is downstairs framed. and I've done Poppy. So there we go, lots and lots of bling on her. Don't know if you can tell. Another biggie next. Beatrix Potter sampler. I was lucky enough to borrow the chart from a friend, and I finished it, and she ended up getting the chart back 18 months later because COVID happened. So yeah, Beatrix Potter sampler. I don't know what I used. Obviously I used a red, but I don't know what one. So I can't get this chart anymore, which is why I was lucky enough to be able to borrow it. And now we have another biggie, and I know what you're going to say. Lavender and Lace, Angel of the Morning. And it's morning as in AM, not morning as in sad. She was released not long after 9/11. And I'd seen previews of her, and I just fell in love. Absolutely head over heels. Have to stitch her, even though she has a face, which is all done over one. And I ordered her from a place that used to be in Bakewell. Name completely escapes me at the minute. I had a phone call to say she had arrived. I got in the car, I went over, I bought the fabric, I bought the needle paints, because I don't know if you remember Marilyn Levitt in Bloom, is that her name? Released some needle paints, and I came home. I was living at a previous address then, but I went home and I started her. But I think I got a bit fed up. I think she went out on a UFO round robin. I think she's one that I sent out when the Magic in Motion had been finished. I could be wrong. It's been a long time, as I said. But she's called Angel of the Morning, and it's morning as in AM. A lot of people thought it was morning as in after 9/11, but it wasn't. It was morning as in AM. But she was a good stitch. She was nice to do. She's got fairly big blocks of colour, but that face, yeah, just a face. The face is over one. One reason I don't like stitching faces is because of her face, stitching it over one. I think the fabric is blue spruce linen, but I could be wrong. I've got this one. I think pretty sure that this is one from Trudy Ann Designs, one of her own little designs with the wooden buttons. Never done anything with it. Stitched it on Ada, which means it was an out and about of the house stitch. But yeah, didn't take long. Another biggie. Can't remember its name. This was an anchor kit. Bought it donkeys years ago. Started it and got fed up and put it aside. I think it might be called Threadbare. And it ended up as a weekend project to get it finished. Again, highly unlikely it's still available. And I started it that long ago, it was on Ada, which I haven't done regularly for any length of time. Persian something, this I think this was called. It was a DMC kit. and I switched the fabric as you should be used to me doing by now. Very enjoyable stitch. Persian floral maybe. Again, drawn to the colours. Even though there's a lot of pink in it, it's not pink, it's more sort of to a reddy pink than a pink. You get what I mean? Loved it. It's a full coverage. But you don't think about that with these sort of ones. Told you I had finished Needle Fairy. Pardon me, from the Stitching Fairies. My fabric is Slightly Spring from Sparklies. I'm going to do them all on the same fabric so that they've all got that link. I think I did her 2020. She was a lot quicker to do than the Thimble Fairy. Or as you know, Thimble Fairy is still a PhD. So, there we go. I have got all the Stitching Fairies to do. I don't know how I'm going to show this one. This is something I started when my girls were little. I think it was a DMC kit. As you can see, it's humongous. Sorry, it's the only way I could do it. It's massive. Obviously it's an Afghan. Don't know what name it is, but it ended up as a weekend project, and I've never done anything with it. I have grandsons, but none of them, it wouldn't have been appreciated by the grandsons, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I've no idea. I remember it 8 floss, because obviously you were doing, I think it was 4 strands. I was glad to get it finished, and now it's like, what do I do with it? This is another one that was a stitch along with Jeanette. Only done 18 months, 2 years ago. It was out of a cross stitcher, I think. Either cross stitch or a World of Cross Stitch. Can't remember the designer. But it was a lot of fun to do. With one block was, you could do one block in a day. Pretty much. But it was a lot of fun. Wish I could remember what it was called. This was my first Caterpillar cross stitch subscription box. Something mandala. Obviously changed the fabric. And remember stitching this at hospital bedsides for relatives and other odd places. But yeah, that was my first Caterpillar cross stitch. Next is another Lizzie Kate. Again, a limited edition kit. I think this was 2008. I bought it. Don't think I've got it anymore. I think I sold it on. One of the kits that comes with threads. Or was it buttons? No, I think it was just the threads. Anyway, it was a Lizzie Kate. And it was a limited edition kit. And I've done it on what looks like a 28 count, just in cream. You all right down there, missus? I think we're going to end up with a part 4. There's a cat. Look, she's back again. don't know. You're a big soppy, aren't you? She's like, yes, Mum. I don't know. I'm supposed to be recording my video here. I'm not talking to you and giving you a stroke. Come on. Come on. Go down there, out the way. Yeah. I'm at 55.5 minutes and I still have a bit of a pile, and I still have the things that I pulled out previously. So this was a Bothy thread kit. Again, a stitch along with Jeanette. We do quite a lot of them. We finish one. Hello. Yeah, this is before your time. Yeah, so again, I changed the fabric. It would have come with Ada, and I've changed it to 28 count, whatever. And you've got all your little embellishments. So I've got some sequins. It was a lot of fun to do. I think we've got a couple of the other ones. I know I've got the unicorns. Slightly dotty, whatever they were. This is obviously slightly dotty puddings. So, come on, back down there. You're getting in the way now. I have a gnome. This is from BDL Cross Stitch Emporium, something like that. It was done as a model for them. You got to pick a chart. I picked this one to do. There's a girl and a boy version of each one. Obviously, I've just done the girl version. And yeah, my fabric will be a sparklies, but I don't know what. She took quite a long time to do. I've got a few cards that I've stitched over the years that I'm going to show you because the cat's on my lap. This was a textile heritage kit. Vague recollections in my first Box of Doom video, showing you the larger version of this. It's in the Box of Doom, but you know, it's finished. Put that away safely. Then we have Carousel Horse. Again, it was a kit, and I can picture the outside of the kits. Can't think of the name of them. They used to be quite prevalent everywhere. You could find them wherever you went. But these days they don't seem to be about. So yeah, Carousel Horse. As I said, I love carousels and rocking horses. Oh, you've settled down now, have you? And then a Christmas carousel horse. Looking inside in case I wrote down when I did them, but I haven't. So I've got another little kit that was stitched. I remember stitching this at my ex-partner's house. The light in there was awful, so I used to just take little kits. Eventually got to the point where I left a bigger project there that was on Ada. But yeah, that's what that one was. And then I did, sorry, I didn't take it out of the packaging. I did a little dragon. from Denise Designs. No idea where I picked it up. But as I say, I like dragons, so I did that one. And that puts us at an hour again. Pardon me, I've still got a few there. And I have the ones that I pulled out to either donate to Love Quilts or finish. So I will stop this one. I will see if I can move the cat who is currently lying on my lap. And I will record part 4, ready to upload tomorrow when I get back from Sparklers. So I'll see you then. Bye.